So why don't we just let everyone come out here? So we have Katie Cassidy. We have Katrina Law. We have Caity Lotz. Oh, yeah, come on in. And we have Neal McDonough. Your mic's not on?
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there we go.
Hello.
How lucky am I to be sitting with these talented ladies?
Oh my God, I'm looking at you all.
Everyone can hear now.
Welcome
We
to
all got
Comic-Con.
really distracted backstage just now.
So we haven't seen each other in forever. So, you know that pandemic happened. So we were just saying hi and chatting and not listening to announcers. Hi.
Hi.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for coming to the con, and I'm sure all of us here, of course, we are fans of the series. We loved the series when it was on. It was on for 8 seasons, and it really changed live action television for DC, especially because Arrow kickstarted the Arrowverse. It kickstarted all of these spin-off series from The Flash to Legends of Tomorrow. And when you started the show, or when you came on the show, obviously Green Arrow and characters like Black Canary and these iconic classic figures that have been around since the 40s, and this mythology that has been here for decades before or jumping into your roles, whether it was from the comics or even the show, what was for the show. How did the comics or the media beforehand influence your roles into getting ready for the series? Were you familiar with the comics? Were you familiar with the kind of mythology behind the characters and the storylines in the show? And if you weren't, did you kind of jump into it at all? Did you use it as a reference to kind of mold how you would act on the show? And that's for anybody.
For me personally, I did when the time came, when it was appropriate to, because when I first had read the show, my character had not obviously grown and transformed into the Black Canary, so I didn't want to get ahead of myself. But yes, as soon as I felt like the timing was right and my character's journey began down that road, I read up a lot about it. I mean, I definitely knew the comic book growing up, but I was more of a gamer growing up. But I definitely obviously educated myself and wanted to give as much of a hats off and kudos to the comic and to the fans, and do it as much justice as possible to make everybody happy. So yeah, I definitely considered it when I was doing character back work and development.
I mean, in terms of research, reading comic books is a pretty fun research thing to have to do. You're like, I guess I'll just have to read these comics. It's my job. So yeah, it's fun.
I think the same thing. By the time I came onto the show, Arrow was already kicking butt on TV, and nobody had heard of Nyssa. So we basically changed her a lot from the comic book version, and Greg Rucka and everybody, they were on board with that. So kind of being able to do what we wanted with her was a lot of fun. So I felt not as much pressure as somebody, say, the Canaries would, because their characters are a little more according to Bible. So yeah, just having fun and the freedom to do that, and the fans allowing us to do that was pretty cool.
As far as Damien Dark, he was kind of an obscure character in comic books, so it really allowed us to delve in and make our own type of character with it. And Damien on Arrow was far different from Damien on Legends and on Flash. He was so much more serious and evil. But when I got to Legends and with Katie, we lightened him up so much he became like bad dad joke super villain, which was so much fun to play, and I had a wonderful time doing it. Yeah, baby! Give it up for Damien! Thank you.
With each of your particular characters or the personas that you took up throughout the series, how did you try to bring the character to life, whether you worked on it by yourself, like if it was just made for the series, or if it was an original comic character? How did you work towards, with the other cast as well, to bring to life the character to fit within the major storyline? Like, what did you like about the character that you did, or what did you want to bring to it to invoke the type of persona?
Well, coming in, playing opposite Stephen Amell, who's so driven to succeed and wants everything to be as great as possible. I loved that atmosphere. I loved going into, me being an athlete, for as long as I was. It was like game day, walking in with Stephen. He was always so prepared. I was always so prepared. So the two of us had really kind of like heavyweight fights every time we came to set. But then when I went off to work with Katie and the rest of the crew on Legends, and John Barrowman, how can you not smile and laugh and when you're around Barrowman? It's not possible. So it was a much lighter atmosphere that both of them I enjoyed so much, but both were so completely different in the approach to the character, and I loved it. I was so blessed to be able to play Damien for as long as I have, and now I'm back on Flash again, which has been a ton of fun.
Yeah, I thought you were
so
dead.
It's been great. How many times have I died? Does anyone know? I think it's 4. I'm not sure. I think I died twice with you.
But you killed me.
Right? I killed you once. No.
Whatever.
Not my fault.
And by the way,
Not my fault.
they brought me
Not
back.
my fault.
I'm just saying, okay?
I'll say it to Katie Cassidy one last time.
Apparently I'm allowed to join.
sorry.
What's up? I'm not an Arrow castmate, but I know all these people.
Oh, what's
Hi.
up, girl?
Hi, LA. Thanks for having me. Sorry to interrupt. Continue.
Oh, we were just talking about,
just scoot right on
some
in.
darkness.
It's very
Can I just take a moment to say hi? It is so good to see your faces in person again after all of these years.
Yes!
Oh, that's all I got. Okay, go.
Hi, Candice.
Yes, hello, Candice Patton. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We were just talking about how each person up here brought to life their character and whether they were influenced by comics or influenced by the storyline in the actual series, and how they were able to connect with that persona with working with the other people in the cast or just focusing on the character itself. And I mean, I can ask you that same thing for your role as Iris on The Flash. How did you read up on any comics? Or did you read up, but when you started the series, did you read up on the Flash comics before, or did you just kind of jump into the series with the writers and the creators of the actual CW series?
I did. When I booked the role, I got really excited. I went to my local comic book store in Burbank and tried to do my research. But very shortly after, Jeff Johns was like, we hired you for a reason. We feel like you bring the character to life. So make it your own. And that's what I tried to do. So, yeah. And I think just working with the other actors, we all created a chemistry and a bond, and we all made it our own thing. So, yeah.
I was going to say, Lotz and I actually, which I do think was really interesting and helpful, we were roommates in Vancouver. So it was cool having, playing sisters and then living together and being as tight as we were. I definitely feel like that played and helped the chemistry, but, just like the layers and the depth there. And same with Paul Blackthorne. No, I did not live with Paul Blackthorne, let me be clear. But he working on backstory and developing just, what was the history like, and just together we sat down and we came up with this past, our whole life past. You weren't there yet, but we did talk about you before you got there.
I lived with you, Katie. Who have you not lived with?
Yeah, that actually, we were like, I guess we did go super method, because then it was like, you were like, that's my sweater. Where did you get my sweater
Can
from?
I have my sweater
I gave
back?
you your sweater. I did. I gave it back. We did go
true.
method.
Yeah.
And then, Candice and Keenan and I lived together.
Oh, and I lived with Danielle. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Who did you live with?
He's like, what? My wife?
Yeah, that's right.
I
Where's
live with my
Hervé? I
wife.
can't see my wife.
I basically got my job because of Katie. So when we had our audition, neither one of us knew what they were setting us up for, and we both kind of walked into the audition, looked at each other, and went, let's give it a try. And I guess we had good chemistry, and thanks, Katie. So
That.
Nice. So, as I mentioned in the beginning, the Arrow began and kickstarted the Arrowverse for the CW, and it kickstarted shows such as The Flash and Legends of Tomorrow, and it really has become the kickstarting thing of the DC multiverse in a way. It was the first live action anything really for DC that introduced the concept of the multiverse outside of comics, and in a way that I think made sense, because the multiverse can be a little complex, but I think the series from The Flash to the Arrow really demonstrated, or at least explained to fans that maybe aren't familiar with the concept of the multiverse in comics. How does it feel to be a part of such a large, important piece of pop culture for DC, especially when you see the multiverse coming into movies such as The Flash coming next year? How does it feel to be a bigger part of the DC fandom in that way, to explore the bigger universe and to touch upon all these other characters than the ones that you guys are familiar with in the series?
It's pretty freaking awesome. But also, I mean, I think so much gratitude. I have so much gratitude, and I'm so blessed to have been, even a tiny slice of this giant pie. But also being able to be here, making wonderful friends and being around amazing other talent and individuals and people, and then coming out and being able to pay it back, and because of the fans, because of you guys, that we're here. So thank you. It's just an amazing feeling. Yeah, it's incredible.
Well, put it this way. Look at all of you people who are here today because you wanted to see us talk up on a panel.
Crazy.
We love you guys more than you could possibly imagine, because without you, there's no way we'd be here. You guys all came out today on a Saturday afternoon to show your love to us. So thank you. You guys are amazing. We missed you guys more than you can imagine.
I think it's easy to forget. That's such a good point. When we're shooting in Vancouver 9 months out of the year, we don't see you guys. We don't see your faces. And I haven't done a convention in so long, and I miss being able to see the people who are watching these shows and to see how much you guys love these characters. I forget sometimes until I come and see this. It's incredible. I mean, for me to play Iris West Allen and to reimagine her as a black woman and bring her into this century as, someone that a lot of minorities can see and look up to, that's huge for me. I think it's really an awesome thing. I don't think I'll realize it until maybe 10 years after the show, like the impact.
You're still in shock.
I'm still in shock. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when Candice and I went out to lunch a month ago or something, and there was two young girls that came up and wanted a picture, and they were crying, and they were so happy and so excited, and both Candice and I were kind of they left, and we were getting misty-eyed.
We cried at the table.
Yeah, we were why are we crying? Because we hadn't been able to have any kind of fan interactions for so long because of COVID, and getting that feedback, because if you're an actor on stage, you get clapping and there's that connection and it's live, but on TV it's we
crickets
exist, yeah.
And then
the crew's
cut.
not clapping for us.
No, crickets cut. Let's go again.
And so it's so nice and so important to be able to have that exchange, and it's quite fulfilling for us as well. So yeah, thanks guys.
Yeah, thank you
for
guys.
coming.
Genuine camaraderie. I love it.
With all of the seasons and the episodes, is there, for each of you, is there a moment, whether it's a single moment or an episode, that you feel would define your particular character? Or better yet, do you feel that there is an episode or a moment that really defines the spirit of the show Arrow as a whole?
Oh my gosh, there's so many.
So many episodes.
So many.
I had sorry, go ahead. When we were filming the finale for Arrow, I know it was the finale and it was super sad, but it was so lovely having pretty much 8 seasons worth of characters all come back and stand in one spot. And I just remember looking around and just thinking, I've been a part of something magical. And it
You're
was
gonna
like
make me emotional.
like Arrow and all of our shows, the spin-offs and Flash and everything. It's just been, and Legends, it's lightning in a bottle. And it doesn't happen often, and having this experience and this entire world and community that we built together. I mean, like missing the fans. I know so many of these faces out there. It's ridiculous. I have seen you before. We have all seen you. We've held your children. We've watched your children grow. It's
A
an
lot of
amazing
proposals.
Yes, we've been a part of proposals. So when I was standing there during the funeral scene and just looking around at everybody, I just thought, this is a magical moment. Hold on to this, because this doesn't come around very often in life or in your career. So,
Gratitude.
For me, there were, oh yeah, please, continue that clap. Keep going. More, bigger. For me, there were two moments. On Arrow, there was this really cool moment when I was fighting Steven, and I turned around and there was a sea of people about this size, and I just moved my hand and everyone falls down. It was one of the most surreal, coolest things I've ever been part of. But my favorite, it choked me up so much when I did it. When I went back to do the wedding scene for Nora, but it was when I said goodbye to Katie that, you know, when we're shooting in Vancouver, the hours are really long. It's raining, it's cold, so you spend so much time with each other, getting to know each other. And I thought at that point it was the last time I was going to be on these shows. I was wrong. But at that moment, when I looked at Caity Lotz and I literally said goodbye, it was a moment of all these years just wrapped up into this moment. And I remember being so choked up when I did that moment that I will never, ever forget that.
I'm getting sad. I'm getting sad for the potential end of Flash at some point. You guys are making me sad.
Oh, it's sad. I'm just saying, get ready for it, okay?
It'll never end. It's gonna go for 20 seasons.
No, but okay.
Well, what are your thoughts on the eventual ending of The Flash? Can you even envision? It's been on for
years.
For years.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the ending, it can wrap up in a way that you can see fit, that it would be a fitting end to the series, or?
I mean, I hope so. My biggest hope is we've all put so much time and effort into this thing, and we love these characters, and we know how much you love them, and it would hurt me to walk away knowing that we didn't give it justice. I really think we have to, whenever that day comes, we have to give these characters and this story justice. For me, it would just make me a nice send-off. Like, we did that. We wrapped it up and we did it right. Yeah. I don't know when that day's coming. I have no idea. I think everybody kind of differs on, you know, their life and what they want. So it's hard to say.
Well, with Arrow ended the series, and it was a very, I'm sure, an emotional time for the series to end. When you think about all of course, the positive from the series, what were, just looking back on the seasons, what was probably the most challenging for you on the show, whether it's dealing with your character or just, what were the challenges, I suppose, in bringing to life the series? If any.
As an actor, or you? Do you mean?
Sure, it can be as an actor bringing to life the character, or it can be just working on the show in general, or something. Bringing to life your character.
Well, I think. Well, challenges. You know, when you're starting a TV show, obviously the first season you're trying to find your legs and what you are. I feel like season 2 we certainly had a hold on our show and what kind of show we were, and that's when, was it season 2 or 3 when you died?
Oh, when I died?
Yeah.
3.
So when her character died, obviously it was very difficult for myself and my character, but also I feel really bad for the rest of the cast that was around me, because I was a nightmare for the rest of the season. I was crying all while my character was dealing with her sister's death. So that was just difficult on many levels. And then obviously when they killed my character, when Damien Dark killed my character off, that was obviously pretty difficult. If that answered your question.
Yes.
I hope.
Y'all show sounds good.
Yeah, you should watch it.
I should watch this. This sounds good.
I hear yours is good too.
It's pretty good.
I think for me a big challenge was bringing Sarah Lance from Arrow to Legends of Tomorrow, because on Arrow, it's a dark show. My character was very dark, very tough and guarded, and then Legends, I'm like reading the scripts and I'm like, I would never say this on Arrow. Like this is not, what character is this? And it was definitely a challenge to try to figure out how to bring, shed some of the darkness, but still hold on to the essence of who Sarah Lance was and what we loved about her. And yeah, because now the Sarah Lance, it's so weird because it's really, like, it's been so long now. It's, I don't know how many years, 10 years or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the character has grown and changed a lot. And now it's a challenge to, like, continue to grow and change. And I think, with her relationship with Ava, all Ava Lance, yeah. Sorry, darling. But that's provided a lot of growth and challenge for her in new ways.
I'm happy for them.
I did forget about one moment. Like Katie was saying, our characters on Arrow were so different from our characters on Legends. But I had the distinct honor of having a line that I will never forget. It was probably my favorite moment, other than Band of Brothers, that anything that I've ever done. And it was when I tell myself, I'm going to kick my ass. When I go back and fight myself and I beat my old Damien Dark in a fight, there was something so much, it was so freeing to be the new, fun, goofy dad Damien Dark and go after and have to fight the old, mean, cruel, Black Canary killing Damien Dark. And it felt great to kick his butt, I have to admit that, and it was such an enjoyable moment for me on television.
Well, the Arrow series and the Arrowverse is so epic, and it's still going, and even if the show is ending, like, the legacy of Arrow will still remain, and I know that you can see it in all of these fans that are here because we love the series and we love what multiverse and what universe that grew from this show, and I know we're all just very thankful that this show existed and still does. And unfortunately, we're kind of out of time.
Well, thank you guys.
But I am so thankful that all you guys are here to chat a little about your experience on Arrow, and thank you for sitting and chatting with us because we are all
thank you guys
huge
so much.
fans.
And come see us. We'll be at our
the
tables,
series.
so come say hi.
Thank you so much.
Thank
and
you,
thank
guys.
you to everyone
Thank you, guys.
who came.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
This is John Glover, and you are watching Fandom Spotlight. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Lionel Luther recommends it. Have some fun. Follow your fandom.